Hello, everyone, and welcome to another fantastic episode of the Whovians Classic. And today we're going to be discussing the super awesome episode, The Krotons. Now we're going to get some ideas of what you guys thought about this episode. I will pass this along to Steve Stotts. What did you think of this episode?
Well, it's been quite a while since I've seen it, but back in the day I used to watch quite a bit of it. The Krotons, an oppressive robot grown from crystalline structure overshadowing and stomping on the Gonds. Yeah, I think that they've been going on for so long they don't even remember really who they were before, but I always love stories with Jamie and Zoe, especially Zoe. Not hard to look at there, eh, Michael? For sure.
Gotta love Zoe. Yes.
Oh yes.
Zoe, they mean you.
There is actually a big Finish story called Return of the Krotons. It would be interesting to see how they would get back to that. But yeah, I like how Patrick Troughton always sort of saved the day with one little gadget or something like that. I mean, in this case, it was a bottle of fancy acid that sort of ate through the Dynatrope when it was all ready to rock. And yeah, it was a fun story. Lots of fun. Those ones always are. It was pretty early on. No more historicals at that point. I think they were all going out into space and meeting all kinds of crazy aliens and stuff like that. But yeah, the Krotons, yeah, when their heads spun like that, man, I remember watching that at the time and going, okay, that's pretty crazy. No, it was a great story. Even any time, the side note, when me and the kids are walking along, if they get too close to a stop sign or whatever, or at a corner, I'll always yell out, stop, like the way that the Krotons did. It always gets their attention, and so it never fails for sure. But no, I love this story. It's awesome.
Awesome, bro. Cool. Glad you enjoyed it. All right, well, let's go to Jimmy. What did you think of this episode, Jimmy?
Well, when this episode aired in 1968, it was already released to the public that Charlton wanted to leave the show. He was tired. He was overworked. The schedule was exhausting to him. The producers, they also wanted to leave the show. The ratings weren't that good, and it looked like Doctor Who was on its way to cancellation. When this show aired, 9 million people tuned in to watch this particular episode, making it the highest rated Charlton episode. It's a lot of firsts. Robert Holmes wrote the script. It's the first script that he would write for Doctor Who. He would become a legend in classic Who. Yeah, I think he wrote Wang Tian. Philip Murdoch, who recently passed away. This is his first appearance. We know him from Brain of Morbius, but I think he appeared in Doctor Who at least 3 different times. It's a great episode. The chemistry between Jamie, Zoe, and the Doctor, it's terrific. The way they relate to each other, what they say, it cracked me up when they first appear. And Zoe says, where are we? And Jamie says, you expect him to know? Jamie, terrific throughout this. He tells him, you wouldn't be so tough without those guards around you. Gets into a fight, wins. You see how loyal he is to the Doctor and to Zoe. In the episode it's just terrific. It came out in 1968. There's a lot of things that were going on at that time. Satire on education, satire on youth rebellion. Until recently, it was one of the few Charlton episodes that we had intact. But I really liked the episode. It's a fun watch.
Another cool thing, yeah, with Jamie's fight there, how he just didn't want the weapon. He said no, and he beat the dude with the hammer. Well, the other guy had the hammer or whatever you want to call it. That was pretty good. Pretty good on Jamie. Let's see what Nia. What did you think of this episode?
Nice, simple 4-parter episode. Like Jimmy said, I do like the chemistry between Jamie, Zoe, and the Doctor in this one, and because I did watch Mind Robber. Zoe did not scream in this at all, and I'm particularly happy about that. I thought she was just going to be one of them scream girls like Mel, but she really surprised me in this episode. And I liked Jamie in this and how he, even though what did Zoe said, his mind's is not trained or untrained or whatever, he managed to figure out how to get out of that spaceship.
Mm-hmm.
Almost. If he didn't get... So, I mean, it was really good. And I like how the Gonds had to, like, fight the creatures or whatever to gain power again. I like, you know, the oppressed are no longer the oppressed. Now they have to do their own thing.
Yeah, that is cool. Thank you, Neo. Lee Wilson, what did you think of this episode, my man?
The Krotons. This story usually gets a mixed reaction from the fans. Either they like it or they don't. But for me, I absolutely love it. Troughton, for me, is one of the best doctors in my eyes. Brilliant story. It's a simple story as well about oppression and, you know, slaves. Krotons, brilliant villains. I mean, the costume might have had a few design flaws, you know, but I can't see them making toys for the kids with the Krotons. But yeah, all in all, it's a very good story. As Jimmy said, Philip Maddock, a brilliant actor, who would appear later in the same season. I think it was the Warlord in the War Games. But it's a very good story, and I think the Krotons must have visited Earth in the past because they all spoke with a South African accent. If anybody noticed.
All right, Lee, we'll let you get into that in a little bit after we're done, see how everybody feels about it. What do you think of this episode, Brian?
Honestly, I like this episode. I think that this episode is one of the one of the few best Patrick Troughton stories that he ever had and made. I mean, it's an interesting story. I mean, it had the robot, and I loved how I love Zoe and the doctor in this especially. It parts in it made me laugh and everything. So I thought it was a good story with the Troughton era of Doctor.
Feel the same way, not to get repetitive. I'm trying to think of something else I did enjoy without getting repetitive here. You know what I did? The tone of the episode, the music, the background music going on. Because if you listen to the music, it gets a bit creepy here and there, and it fits well with the episode. The Krotons themselves, I mean, they were pretty decent looking. You know, again, I did enjoy their voices. Yeah, I guess you know, I mean, I did enjoy the episode. I'm trying to think what else I enjoyed about it. I love the hell out of Zoe. You have Jamie, who's a fighter. He'll have the doctor's back no matter what, and he kicks ass, and that's a plus. I love him. And you got Zoe, which is a genius and very intelligent and beautiful. I loved it. I wish we would have had some more of her. Definitely give this episode a good solid 8. It was enjoyable enough, and it's an enjoyable enough episode for me to recommend for, you know, newer Whovians to you know, give a look at. It's not a bad episode. It's not really too long. Now, I want to see what you the rest of you folks here want to give it a rating if you haven't rated it yet. I guess we'll go with Jimmy. What do you think? Would you give this a rating?
Very last thing the doctor says in the episode is, I don't like goodbyes.
Oh, yeah.
That's
right. Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I love Zoe. She's a genius, but she's naive. I'd give this episode an 8.
Yeah.
An 8 out of 10. The father, he's really bad, but he's so bad it becomes comical watching him. I remember one he's saying to the guy next to him, underneath the palace of education are the weapons. And I'm thinking, you're standing right next to him. You don't need to shout. You know?
Yeah.
And, yeah, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. TARDIS. 8 out of 10 TARDISes.
Steve,
I would definitely give it 8 out of 10 TARDISes for sure. I didn't know about the ratings at the time, as Jimmy pointed out. 9 million for 8? Wow. Even
That's according to Internet Movie Database, 9 million.
Wow.
That is amazing, really.
Yeah. I mean, even by today's standards, that's pretty good for overnight figures. I mean, back then they didn't have the iPlayer or all this other stuff watching online like most of us do. But definitely, it's just one of those ones. If someone said, "Hey, let's watch a Patrick Troughton story tonight," what do you want to watch? Generally, it would be the Krotons for me.
Cool.
I mean, it is sad that a lot of the stories don't exist anymore. But I mean, like the Mine Robber, that's a good one. There aren't too many that are intact, but the Krotons for sure, definitely one of my top Troughton favorites of all time.
Oh, cool, man, cool.
If you have the DVD, there is a documentary on the DVD. I think it's called Second Time Around. It's an hour documentary about how Patrick Troughton's career as the Doctor, beginning from when Hartnell regenerated into Troughton to the very end.
Would you have there, Neo?
I'll give it a 10 out of 10. I really loved it.
Oh, you're 10 out of 10. You're going there.
I loved it.
All right.
Hey. It has flaws, but I accept the flaws.
And you're becoming a Zoe fan, I see, a little bit there.
A little tiny bit, but I have not seen Victoria yet.
Okay.
I don't know what episode she's in. I got to take a look at that.
Yeah, I would, because I think Zoe's a little bit better than.
All right, then we're gonna pass this over to Lee. Lee, will you give us your rating on this episode and also fill us in a little bit on the audio adventure with the Krotons there?
All right. I'd give it a solid 8. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Troughton for me, brilliant. So yeah, solid 8 from me. Can't beat that.
Cool.
The audio, got it in my hand here. Can you see?
Yes.
Written and directed by Nicholas Briggs. Now, we all know it, don't we?
Yes.
I'll read from the back, shall I?
Yes, please do.
Here we go then. The dead planet on Yakis is being plundered by the last survivors of the human race, and their leader, Commander Cobden, will stop at nothing to get what he wants. Already there are rumours of those who stand against him mysteriously disappearing. But when the Doctor and Charlie found themselves on the side of those trying to expose Cobden, they discover something far more sinister. Deep in the minds of Onyakis, alien technology is reactivating. Power is flowing. Something is forming in the darkness. It's a brilliant story. It was a special release. Usually they release one at every Christmas. You get a special release. This was one of them.
Cool.
Philip Maddock returns, who appeared in the original Krotons.
Wow,
He's playing a totally different character, but he's brilliant in it. Colin Baker, can't fault him in the audios. He's been given far better stories in the audios than he was in the TV. Charlie was originally the 8th Doctor's companion. There's a story around that, but I won't spoil it for you. But she ends up in the sea. It's a very good story, and I would recommend, if anybody could get their hands on that, Return of the Krotons. And Big Finish audio, most of the stories, I would say, are sometimes better than TV scripts, what we're getting at the moment.
Cool.
They are very good stories. And they do attract good actors. There's some big names that have appeared in these.
Nice. Nice.
That Return of the Krotons, fully recommend it.
All right. Well, thank you, Lee. And I guess that's pretty much it on the Krotons. All right. Cool.
Interesting.
But now I want to thank everybody that has joined us here. You guys are all, and girls are all awesome. Now go ahead, Steve. Tell people what to do if they're on Facebook.
Join the Cloister Bell if you haven't already. We just hit 2,000 members the other day.
Oh, really? But yeah, also, this episode has been brought to you by the Doctor Who Sanctuary, which is a group that I made a very long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. All right, guys, I guess until next time, keep on hooving, everybody.